I'm on Jason's computer.
Yep. Okay, we can hear you now, and we can see you.
All right. Well, a couple minutes late, but we'll get the, I'll call the meeting to order. And we do have a quorum. So first order of business will be to adopt the agenda. I would entertain a motion to adopt the
Guys,
agenda.
y'all there?
So moved. Daniel, who are you checking on?
Yeah, so.
Heard and seconds that. And all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. The next order of business would be to approve the minutes.
So I had one item in the minutes. It had the tap fees being changed. And my understanding was that we discussed returning to that topic. I believe it was going to take a change by Daniel of the ordinance.
That's correct.
So we didn't approve new numbers, but he was going to come back with the updated ordinance, and we were going to benchmark against Batesville more closely.
That's right. So we'll correct that in the minutes.
That was the only change that I had.
Okay, so my internet connection keeps saying poor quality from time to time. So if I cut out, please let me know.
Okay.
But the on page 2 of the May minutes, where it's addressing specifically me, I would request that the state of Mississippi sentence needs to be deleted, please.
Okay.
Because I wasn't trying to represent that that the state approved
Okay,
my purchase.
I see. Okay, we'll strike that line.
And then on page 3, I might have misunderstood, but I thought that at the last minute meeting, y'all had reset the Benny Campbell hearing for today because we had lost track of the continuances of the hearing. And so that's what I did. But if we just continued it for another 6 months, that's fine. They did get notice of today's meeting.
Did anyone contact you on that, Daniel?
No one's contacted. I sent out the letters noticing them for tonight again.
Okay.
I mean,
I think the motion was
misunderstood.
6 months. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other corrections?
Yes, sir. On the unmarked vehicle, where was that at? All right. According to the state statute, we've got to include the VIN number of the vehicle in that because we have to send it in to the state audit department for them to be able to see which vehicle we have as unmarked so that if they ever come, they can see that it's being used for the police. And we have to include also in the language of the order that the is for legitimate investment.
You there?
Daniel, we lost you for 10 seconds. You may want to turn off your video to save bandwidth.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we just need to include that VIN number. That would correct that one, right?
We need to include the VIN number and we need to include the reason why we want it unmarked. And the reason why we would want it unmarked is for investigative purposes in their specific language. Oh, it would hinder official investigations. We have to have that language in there in the VIN number, and we have to send it to the audit department.
So we would need to include that in the minutes as well as the report to the state?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll add that to the minutes also. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Any other corrections? Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended. Herbie makes that motion. We have
Second?
I second.
Okay, we got a couple seconds. All in favor? Aye.
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 All right, that is unanimous. Mickey, are you around? Is Mickey on?
Mickey is not on.
Okay. You know of anybody know anything with Main Street?
I do have something that's Main Street associated. The House bill to renew the Mississippi State Historic Tax Credits. It passed the House and now it's moving on to the Senate. So anybody who knows a state senator, that project was that tax credit program was very instrumental in the Big Yank project. So for other towns that would like to be able to do something like that, if you can recommend to your senator to support that bill when it comes through the Senate.
All right. Got one I can contact tomorrow. Okay. The Planning Commission, I know that hopefully everyone got an email today, and they will be having a special meeting this week, June the 4th, to address a couple of issues. But I think that's all they had. Yeah. And it will be a Zoom meeting, so anybody that wants to join it. There are two different things I believe they're addressing on that. But is there anyone present from the Planning Commission? No, that was the, I'm sorry, that was the Historical Preservation Commission that's meeting Thursday night, and not the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission did not meet. They did not meet. Okay, so we'll check the Planning Commission off. The Historical Preservation Commission will meet this Thursday night to address two different issues. And then, like I said, anybody that wants to join them in Zoom could do so. Okay, we have hearing.
Mayor, do you want to, the monthly bills?
Did I skip right over that? Yeah. I am sorry. Yeah, let's go back to the monthly bills there. Better get those covered so we can get the bills paid.
Did you receive that after I re-emailed it?
Yes, ma'am. And I blazed through most of it. I had two questions. One, there were two different line items, 75041 and 75042. Both were for insurance. Almost exactly, they were 4 cents apart, $8,718. I was wondering if those were the same insurance premiums being paid twice, or it looked like bond insurance possibly for the departments or maybe the board and the mayor.
That is just our regular blanket insurance for everything, the buildings, vehicles, and all.
So is that
And
two
we
premium
split
payments?
it. You are talking about to travelers?
Yes. So it was two payments that were within 4 cents of each other.
Right. We just split it up and it kind of equals out like that sometimes.
Okay. So the actual premium is about 17,000.
Yes. And that is paid like quarterly.
Okay. And then I just wanted to check in. I saw another, the flooring expense for the armory. How's the armory doing, and are we still on budget?
Yes, we are in budget. I'd like to be done faster, but we've just been slowed down.
I took a tour today. It looks really good.
I'm gonna say the police officers will be ready to move in about 2 weeks at the most. And then just start finishing stuff up. We got all our lights in today, so we're making good time. I mean, making good progress, not good time.
Okay, great. Those were the only two things that I had.
Okay. All right, so I will entertain a motion to approve the monthly bill since we need to pay our bills. Herbie makes motion.
make a motion.
Second. Nicole, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Sorry about skipping over that. Okay, we have a hearing for Teresa Hobson. Daniel, is anyone present there?
No, sir, they are not.
Okay. That is the property on Stevens Street, right?
Yes, sir.
Forget the exact address. I had Vivian pull some numbers today. Basically, she's about $1,700 in the rears on some current things. Kind of unique situation. We provide the sewage. Tallahatchie Valley provides the electric, and a water association provides her water. But she is in the city. And Daniel, I think you can tell everybody, and I'm sure everybody knows what that property looks like. But Daniel, you have been out there and you have talked with Miss Hobson.
Yes,
So-
sir. Me and Chief Mangrum went out there on the 19th, and I personally posted the notices. Very kind speaking woman came out and wanted to know what I was doing. And so while we talked about her situation in life, I was taping the notice to her front porch, but all around us was various litter, strewn trash. The weeds in the yard is extremely overgrown, and it's it looks like a clear breeding ground for pests and vermin. Her main complaint, not in defense of her, but just FYI to the board, was that they had been trying to bag it, but they would bag it and it wasn't being picked up. Of course, then I turned around and asked around, and it's because they're so far behind on their current utilities or current, the garbage fees. So, there's a little bit of an impasse there that they don't understand why the trash isn't being picked up. And I think we're picking up the normal amount. It's just we're not picking up the 30 extra bags that they're bagging up, and they've gotten a huge bin out by the road.
If you've driven by that property, 30 bags does not make a dent in the garbage that is on that property. But so is that to say that we, in other circumstances, we would stop serving?
Y'all cut out on me.
I'm sorry. In other situations, would we, in this situation, cut off the water and electric service if they were that far behind? $1,700.
Yeah. Well, that's the situation. We don't provide her water.
Yeah.
The city doesn't. We don't provide her electricity. And the only thing we provide is the sewage and the sanitation from the garbage. And she is well behind in that. If we stop that, it's going to be worse.
So Daniel, what?
I'm to the point, I'm ready for us to clean it up and charge anything to their taxes, because I know I can't tell you the number of complaints I've received on that property, and I'm sure everybody else has received them. And
So is that, Daniel, can we send city staff on site to clean that facility? And then,
If y'all determine tonight that the property is in such a state of uncleanliness as be a menace to the public health, safety, and welfare of the community, yes, after an adjudication of that fact.
Ms. Hobson has just walked in the boardroom.
Oh, good.
So, Ms. Hobson, we were just discussing your situation out there. Basically, your property is in a bad state of disrepair, garbage.
I've been working on it.
Well,
It's just the ones that I had helping me
just quit.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but that really is not, that's an excuse, not a reason. Because it's got to be cleaned up. I mean,
Can y'all give me some time to get it clean?
That's be up to the board. She's asking for time, but
At this point, it has been I would not want. Oh, I'm sorry. Nicole, was that you?
Yes, I just said it's just been a long time. How much time would you be asking for?
I
'Cause
would
that
not.
needs to be cleaned up now.
Yes, I would not want to give. I would not want to give a 30-day.
At least a month. Cause Bobby's working, he's planting seeds. And that's the reason he's not with me now, cause he's in the field.
I'm sorry.
I do got, Margaret Beard, I don't know if y'all know her or not. I do got Margaret Beard and her husband, they're coming Friday and gonna help me in my yard Friday. And she's gonna talk to her daddy about a truck, but Miss Judy can tell you, I have came down here to get a dumpster. I have called down here to get it, I have called Mike to get a dumpster, and he says he don't have one. I've tried.
well,
Miss Judy can tell you, I have tried.
we can put a dumpster out there, but
We didn't have one available.
yeah, available at the time. But if we get one out there, it's still the thing that you do have to pay a rent for a dumpster.
I already know that.
Okay.
At this, I'm sorry
I
to.
just get one out there. I'm gonna have the money tomorrow.
So at this point, if there is a $1,700 bill to pay before a dumpster fee could be paid, I don't see how we could deliver a dumpster. Because we would never have any guarantee of the taxpayers being repaid for that. I would like to move forward with an actual cleanup where we know the taxpayers won't be stuck with the bill.
I think that's wise.
So I would move that after a 14-day waiting period, we move forward with the city cleaning this property and affixing that bill to the property taxes.
Well, the reality of it is if Kagan's motion goes forward, then the city can go put a dumpster out there. And if Ms. Hobson goes ahead and gets her family members to clean it up and put the trash in the dumpster, and then we dump the dumpster, then she can pay for the dumpster fee. And if she doesn't, then it can be assessed back to her taxes. So Kagan is correct in that the taxpayers in this situation will be protected, in that if she says she's going to pay for it and she'll pick it up, then that'll be available and she'll only owe the fees for the dumpster.
So that I would leave that to the discretion because I don't know that we have a dumpster available right now. But I would stand by my motion that a 2-week time period, and after 2 weeks, the city will fix the problem, and whatever costs are incurred will be ascribed to that property's taxes.
Okay. So that is, Kagan has put that in form of a motion. So do we have a second to Kagan's motion?
Second.
Motion is for, give her a 14-day period. We deliver a dumpster out there.
I say just 1 month.
I do
too. Yeah, give them 1 month.
We got a motion first, so let's discuss.
Well, y'all would need to adjudicate. I apologize. Do I have the floor?
Yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
Thank you. Y'all would want to adjudicate, if y'all decide that, y'all would adjudicate that the parcel of land is in its current condition is a menace to the public health, safety, and welfare of the community. The governing authority then, if the owner does not do so himself, shall proceed to clean the land by the use of employees, municipal employees, or contract. And so once y'all do the adjudication, the timeline is really in your discretion as the city, discerns. Y'all just need to find that the adjudication is made, is my point.
So what would that motion need to sound like?
would, that you make a motion that the property be adjudicated to be to be a menace to the public health, safety, and welfare of the community.
I make that motion.
So the motion that Kate is making now is that the property is being adjudicated as being a public menace to the health, safety of the community. Okay, so we got the motion. Now, second to that motion, then we get to talk about timeline. Do we have a second to the motion?
Second that motion.
Herbie seconds the motion. Okay, now we can discuss a timeline for this to be done.
We need to vote.
Well, we vote on the motion, then we'll vote on timeline. Okay, let's vote on the motion. It's all in favor of the motion of declaring it a public or adjudicating it as being a public menace. All in favor of that motion, aye, or raise your hand, or
Aye.
okay. All right,
Okay, now that y'all, excuse me,
go ahead, Daniel.
now that y'all have done that, and y'all have up to 1 year after the final adjudication to clean up the property.
Y'all by the city you're talking about,
Yes, sir.
but not her. Okay. So we just need to now set a timeline to give Ms. Hobson a time to get the property cleaned up.
Yes, and every time y'all go out there to, I don't know if Mr. Scroggins is there, but
He's not. Fred has made a
before
motion
they go out, they
that
have to,
I'm sorry. Fred has made a motion that we give her 30 days or 1 month. So Fred has put that in the form of a motion. So to have a second to Fred's motion.
Second.
Herbie seconds that motion. So we have a motion and a second that we give her 30 days.
And after
And-
30 days, we commence cleaning.
Yes, after 30 days, we commence cleaning. All right, so all in favor of that motion?
Aye.
All opposed?
Can I say something?
Just a moment. Kagan, was that
I'm for.
for it? Okay, it's unanimous. And I will get Michael to find a dumpster somewhere if we have to borrow one of those from the school that we're not using right now, maybe, or something. Okay, just something.
Is it any way I might can get some help from my yard? Because I just had surgery
Well, not,
and
so that was a whole issue. That's not, if the city steps in and cleans it up, it's charged back to your tax. We can't come on private property and do work for free. That's just state statute. If we come on your property and clean it up, it's gonna be charged back to you.
What I'm saying is how much?
We'd have to set a price on that. I mean, but you have 30 days because you said you could do it. Start on it right away if we get you a dumpster. And so we can get you a dumpster.
When would the dumpster be there?
If we have one, we'll deliver it tomorrow. I mean, 30 days, you can do a lot in 30 days, you know.
Well, I mean, I've been cutting the grass and we've been raking up all the garbage and done picked some garbage up.
Well, I mean, you're doing what we're all supposed to be doing, and you just got to get it cleaned up because, I mean, you won't believe the number of complaints we've had. And we've been very lenient at this point in time, but that time has got to be over sooner or later.
And you would have to agree, Teresa, we have given you what you asked for.
So we've given you 30 days.
Right.
And
But what I'm saying is if I don't have it cleaned up to y'all's file out.
at the end of 30 days, the city will clean it up and we'll charge what it costs us to clean it up to your taxes. And I can't tell you what that amount is. So if you get most of it cleaned up 30 days, I don't know that the board might not give you a little extension. I don't know that. But I'm saying if we don't see it cleaned up in 30 days, something will have to happen. I mean, you know, it's just one of those things that we have to do. You know, there's ordinance and we have to follow the ordinances.
Because I just had surgery. And I gotta go the 7th and have more chemo. So,
And I'm sorry for that. But like I said, and I know that didn't just get that away since your surgery. It's been going on for a
Oh,
time.
yeah, I have people at my house, and I don't have them there no more. Bobby kicked everybody out of my house.
But anyway, the motions have been made, and we'll give you 30 days, and we'll have to address it in 30 days. Okay. Okay, we have Miss Smith, Miss Elizabeth Smith is here in the boardroom with us. And she wants to speak regarding charges on a meter. And I believe this is and also on a easement on 206 Calhoun Street. Ms. Smith, you want to come up so you can be heard?
Okay. I think I'll talk about the solution for Judson Road, the easement situation first. And I'm just looking for some suggestions or some advice on this because I contacted Daniel on April 15th, 16th, 22nd, and 23rd regarding a week prior, the county putting gravel down on this road behind my personal property, 206 Calhoun. Turns out I had first the Judsons who live on that road off of Simmons. It's between Blackmer and Calhoun. There's a road called Judson, and they're two Judson owners, myself, and then somebody else I don't know, the entrance portion of the road. And I own part of the road. If my survey went to the middle of that road. And I spoke to a lawyer, and he suggested that I go in and talk to the Judsons, so I did. And they said that they owned the furthest section in, and then Sheila Judson's brother, Johnny Judson, owns the section that is partially on my property. And then an unknown person who actually tried to prevent access to the Judsons, they own that chunk to the Simmons entrance. And
I'm going to interrupt you just a minute. I want to explain to everybody what we're talking about. Okay. In case anyone doesn't know, this is Judson Drive, which is, like Ms. Smith says, it comes off of Simmons Street, and it's
right
the drive behind Calhoun, which Ms. Smith's house faces Calhoun. Her property runs, that would be south, and it joins Judson Drive. Now, Judson Drive is, and has been as long as I've been around, a city-maintained street. It's been maintained for years. Fred, you probably can tell me longer than that. Mr. Joe Turner's lived over there a long time. He married one of the Judsons, I think, did he not? So that's the property we're talking about, is that Judson Drive, which we do list it as a city street. Okay, I just wanted them to know what we're talking about. Okay.
Sure. And so my question is, since it is part of my personal property, and then of course I don't know the owner of the other section of that road. If I decide in the future to sell my house, it's going to be an issue because I'm aware of it now, and there's an original Mercer marker on all four corners of my property, and it turns out that every property on my side of the street is their lot measurements are based on my property. And so I contacted the surveyor. I gave the information to Daniel, and I talked to Jeff Traylor. He's a surveyor out of Oxford a couple weeks ago, and he still has not heard from Daniel, and I have not heard back from Daniel about it either. So is there something, you know, I like I said, I went to the Judsons and I said, look, you know, can y'all, you know, just agree to do something to help me clean this ditch up, because people are throwing tires and garbage all in that ditch, and it's washing down and stopping right past my property line, and then there are trees growing, and so it just holds all that garbage. And I gave him my phone number and asked him to have Johnny Judson contact me, and he never did. So I don't know what to do,
Okay.
but it will be an issue if I try to sell.
If I can interject,
All right, Dan, yeah, I was going to ask you. Go ahead.
well, I remember speaking twice with Miss Smith regarding this matter. We talked. She did have to call a couple of times to get me the first time, but we talked about it, and she expressed her concern over what she was considering public money and resources being put on the private property. And so I said, well, I talked with Miss Vivian, and then I went over to the courthouse and looked at the official road maps for the county, and that little avenue drive, Judson Drive, is on the official county map for a road. So I called Miss Smith back and told her that I found that road is on the map. And she said, well, what do I do now? And I think that's where I said, well, now it's, you'll have to go seek help from somewhere else. But we did discuss it twice, but after I found that it was on the public road registry, I just dropped the issue.
Okay, he said he did check with the county maps and the city maps, and it was listed as a road or a street, which is public access. That's why we've been maintaining it.
Well,
the
the
road
only
itself.
reason it was because the Judsons were threatened by the other owner at the entrance of the Judson Drive Road to deny the Judsons access to the road or to the houses.
Mark, I'm sorry.
and so, and I certainly don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But the Mercer markers are original, and the Judsons claimed that they were told by the city or the county, whichever, that in order to not be denied access, they had to get the road named. And so they named it Judson Road or Drive or whatever it is. But it still doesn't change the fact that it's owned by 4 different people,
Yeah.
So, and those are based on original Mercer markers.
Daniel, does that note go back to possession after so many years?
Well, frankly, when on issues such as that, there's you would need to go back to the root of when the road was designated and what happened when the road was designated. And I don't want to speculate freely as to what occurred, because as you mentioned, it was probably decades ago that it happened. So I can't speculate as to that.
So we would just need to research that part of that.
Right. We would
Okay.
have to go back to see the first time of when it was included on the road registry, and then find out who were the owners then and try to see who agreed to it or what documentation was done to adopt the road.
Okay. We'll do some research on that and find out, like Daniel said, when it was all originally named, the Judson Road, what took place, if any easements were given, if any property was deeded over or anything like that. Evidently it wasn't, because you said your deed still goes there. But we'll find all that, and I will get back with you on that issue.
Okay, and then if he does find out that that the survey is correct, because the Judsons also they had the first survey done on their property. And then I surveyed from that, and theirs was correct, and, you know, whatever. But is there something I can get in writing that says the city, you know, maintains this property, even though blah, 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 whatever?
Once
So
once we get it researched and
Okay.
find out the legalness, I'm not gonna say we can right now without knowing the legal issue.
Okay, okay.
But if we find out everything is legally like that, yes, we can give you
Do
some.
something. Okay, great.
Okay, your second issue was on a water, was that
Right,
right?
207 Calhoun Street. And so this is a duplex, and it's a rental property. And I did not realize that that the meter, water and sewer meter is being read twice, because there are two accounts. So I'm getting a basic charge on both sides, reading only 1 meter. So initially I was going to get, I spoke to Michael and Harry Womble, and they were going to run, they're 2 water lines, but they're up on my property. They go under the house. And then from there, at some point, it goes into 1 line for some reason. I don't know. But turns out I've been paying, when that other side is empty, I was paying the renters half of his water and sewer bill. And so turns out I'm going to end up, I need to get on David's schedule maybe, because I don't know what is going to be involved, but I'm going to remove a tree that's there because the line is broken, the sewer line's broken twice. And I'm going to get, leave it as is, as 1 meter reading at the base of the hill or the road. And then I talked to Christine with electric, Crystal, and Trey. And Trey is willing to come out there and redo the electrical so that it's 1 house, 1 electric meter, and I will pay the bill for the house, for the whole house, so that I don't get double charged for the water and the sewer. When the trash, I can understand, you know, if they're 2 different people, if it's being rented, both sides are being rented at the same time. But when I found out I was paying double for 1 meter reading, then I just decided it would be less expensive to go ahead and just put the house on 1 meter, electric meter.
Okay.
So
I don't think that would take any board action or anything. Just, you know, we can work out between our electric trade, doing the work and doing that. That didn't take any board action.
okay,
To do that.
okay, but I haven't heard right now. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, because I haven't heard back from Mr. Womble.
Okay.
So, but once I do, I'll get on David's schedule.
And get on trays too.
And Trace,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
Okay, now we'll research that other. And,
Okay, great.
all right.
All right.
Thank you,
so
ma'am.
much.
Michael's not here, is he?
No, sir, he said that he would probably have
Yeah.
to do that next month.
We'll just skip over Michael. He's not here. He was getting some state bid prices on some things.
Excuse me. I was looking back through my notes from earlier meetings, and the April note said that we continued the 501 Calhoun Street dilapidated property hearing for 60 days, and that would be this month's hearing. So I assumed that I don't know what the condition of the property is, so I would suggest that if everybody else is of the like mind, continue it again. I haven't looked at it myself.
501 Calhoun, would you say, Daniel? You kind of,
Yes, sir. Mhm.
okay. Okay, so since he actually didn't get a notice for this, did he? So,
No, this was just a rehearing set from an earlier date. We looked at it in April and continued it for 60 days.
okay. whose property? I'm drawing a blank.
That's Mr. Buford.
Oh, Mr. Buford's, yeah, okay. So we probably need to continue that till
Yeah,
we
he had
can
been
look at
working
it.
on it. I hadn't ridden by there to see what the current status of it is.
I think at the last hearing, he had boarded the windows and sealed it from anyone wandering in. Am I remembering that correctly?
So I would entertain a motion to give him a continuance and we'll look at it and see. Herbie makes that motion. Fred seconds. All in favor of that?
How long?
30 days. All in favor?
Daniel. Aye.
Okay. That was unanimous. Nicole, do you have a question?
I had a question for Daniel.
Okay.
Daniel, 1521 North Central Street, that was the Skyzik family estate. Has there been any change with that? I know there were some family issues, but has anything changed?
Well,
That's
they
the hair.
actually, I guess it was, I can't remember whether it's been a year ago or not, but we already determined that property to be dilapidated, and the city at its own expense cut the grass, I think, last year.
We're going to have to
Correct
do
me
it
if I'm
again
wrong.
because I think they're both still in prison.
Well, actually, I saw one of them at the grocery store.
Okay. He's,
Okay.
Lafayette County's probation list.
okay. All right. Jason just told me
Yeah.
that Skyzik is now out
For now.
for now.
Yeah, I saw him at the
On
grocery store.
probations, but I don't think anyone was living in the house. And
Need to get them to list it and sell it.
Yes. Okay. I just wondered, we hadn't talked about it in a while, so I just wanted to know because that yard is a disaster.
did they pay taxes?
I can't remember if a year has lapsed. If a year has lapsed, then we would have to do another hearing.
Yeah, I think it may come up for tax sale this time.
Okay.
So maybe it will, and somebody will buy it, clean it up. But we can get it cut, and we'll just keep adding that to the taxes. So if anybody does buy it, it'll have the tax lien against it, can we, Daniel?
Well, we have to check to make sure that we're not outside of the 1 year.
Good.
And before you recut, you have to put a notice on the property 7 days before re-entering that you're going to do so and why.
Okay. All right.
Is there any motion we can make tonight to speed the process in case we have lapsed that 12 months?
Y'all could say that, that a hearing be set to, either determine that it's dilapidated or determine that it's still within the 1 year and continue, or I would just redo the hearing.
I move that we schedule a hearing on that property, please.
Good.
I second.
That'd be within 30 days. We have a motion from Kagan, second by Nicole, that would set a hearing. Daniel, we get those notices out and do it next month?
Yes, sir. That would be the July 7th date.
Okay.
So we're setting a hearing for July 7th
1521 North Central Street.
Yes.
on the, Nicole, what address was that again? 1521?
1521 North Central.
The hair property. Okay, so we had a July the 7th. Okay. Had a motion and a second. Set a hearing on that 1521 Central Street, the hair property for July the 7th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay, the next item is our auditors. We received that letter. As you can tell, it was dated May the 26th. We got it, and they were resigning as of May the 31st. Not much notice.
I want to know what Ms. Wilkerson said to them. She scared them off.
She made them work. No, she was very complimentary of them.
They were very easy to work with. They were, had no problems with them. They had no problems with us, but I don't really understand what the situation was.
So was that, I couldn't tell if that meant they were not going to complete our 2019 audit or they were.
I
was
think it
adding
meant
for next
just
year.
that.
Yes, they're
Means
not going to
just
complete
that.
it. Yeah.
They are not
They're-
gonna complete it.
As of 31st, they were done.
Have we paid them anything towards that service?
Not toward 2019.
Yeah.
They've done 17 and 18.
I think it was 18,500 first year and 20,000 the second year. And then they leave us. So. But on those same lines, I asked Vivian to go ahead and contact Ronnie Wyndham because he had been ours before. And hopefully y'all got what he sent out. Basically, it's about the same thing that the other auditors were doing. And he said that he would do it for 13,900, and he would pick up right away to be able to do our audit.
Is this something where we need 2 quotes?
Daniel?
No, because it's for specialized, it's like hiring the attorney for the year. It's specialized services.
And right now, I mean, we don't have a lot of time. We're basically without today. So, and if anyone has anyone else, I'd be. But
I think I'm glad that we had 2 years of fresh eyes on the books and nothing untoward was found.
right.
I think right now with the CARE Act stuff, every accountant is super busy. So if we have one, we should probably jump on it.
That may be it. Herbie has made a motion that we hire Ronnie back as our auditor. So we have a second.
Second?
Okay. Got a second from Fred. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous. Thank y'all. Yes. Okay, next on there is the parks and outside events. As everyone knows, the governor has opened up everything, restarting business, parks, everything, but we still have a board order to close our parks. So the governor's always made it plain that we could be stricter, we couldn't be more lenient than he is. So any discussion about our parks, of course, we would still have to follow the outside events, no more than 100 people at an outside event. But you know what's the thoughts here? I was thinking about playground, and if we open the parks, Baker Street, there's no way to close, quote, the playground because all that equipment is spread throughout the park. So if we open Baker Street, then that means the playground at City Park, I mean, I suppose we could keep it closed, but it's kind of a catch-22. If you open one, do you open the other? So.
And people have been at the Baker Street Park like it's open.
I had to go by there yesterday and put the barriers back up myself. Police chief has told me they've been by there a couple of times. Basketball games going on. They've asked people to leave, not, you know.
Yeah.
But seems like as soon as they pull off, you know, people go right back to doing what they were doing. So,
Right.
yeah, but you're right, because we have a garbage can over there that's full. So it means people have been in the park for quite a while over there.
Right. This weekend it was full.
So
would it be possible to, because I don't think we can protect playground equipment. We don't have the staff to go out and clean. Could we run some some of that crime scene tape around the playground equipment.
I mean, yeah, we could do that, but knowing it's not gonna last. I mean, that's the thing about it, because like I said, I went by yesterday and put the barriers back up. They had torn down the police tape that was there. It was scattered. I picked some of it up. You know, it's they're just not gonna pay attention to it. I don't think. But
So I know that there are other requests to use our parks that I would like to be able to approve. I know
Yeah.
some of the churches have asked to be able to do outdoor services.
we'll get, yeah,
And I know some of our population would like to participate in the peaceful protesting that's going on across our country. And I'd like them to have a safe place to do that that's not in the road. But I am worried about the playground equipment.
yeah. But as I expressed, that was my own concern at all. But
I think we won't be able to control it. We don't have the manpower or anything to do that with. So I would just go ahead and make the motion that we go ahead and
okay, Herbie has made a motion that we go ahead and open up the parks. You know, express that, hey, we limit your crowds to 100 for outside events. Try to maintain social distancing, and that's all we can do is ask people to be responsible. That's right. And a large majority of people will be. There will be always, no matter what, a certain, you know, part of the population is just not going to act right, period. Always been that way, always will be that way. But anyway, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Are signs going to be posted about the social distancing?
Yes, we've ordered some already for Crawford, walking track and all. We can order some more. We can put the signs up, but that kind of lets us know we're trying to do, but we have ordered some signs. We have a motion. We'd entertain a second before we have any more discussion. Fred seconds. So we have a motion and a second that we open the parks. Any more discussion? And I know there is a concern. And I think a lot of the parents probably won't let their children use the playground. The ones that are more concerned, you know. I'm not saying there's no one that doesn't love their kids. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that some take it a lot more serious than others, and the ones that take it serious, I think, will keep their kids off the equipment right now.
So I agree that we are going to fail if we try to police folks from things that, you know, the walking track a couple weeks ago, now the parks. I am going to immediately after this ask that we speak about the things that we can ask, which are the business owners of our critical businesses. If that can be the next topic of discussion.
Okay. All right, let's have the motion second. All in favor of opening up the parks?
Aye.
Okay.
Uh,
All right, that is unanimous. Thank you. And Chase, I see you've joined. I know you probably have a question. Can you?
We could hear you and then you went back on mute, Chase.
Chase, I'll recognize you if you have any questions about
Chase Dudley.
Chase Dudley.
We posted, can you hear me?
We can hear you a little bit, but you're not very loud.
Okay. You call in. I'll just call in.
I'd like to say, all things considered, everyone's doing very well with this technology.
It's a little small glitch tonight, but that was all right. We found out that Mark's phone works too loud.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
We got you now, Chase, yeah.
All right, let me close it off my computer. Sorry about that. I guess
That's
my
fine.
microphone isn't working very well. Look, Magnolia Youth League is trying to look for a little direction here. Are you getting feedback?
Yep.
A little bit.
If you cut off your computer,
I did. Okay, there it is. Shouldn't hear it now. All right. Thought I did. Sorry about that. The Magnolia Youth League's looking for a little guidance. You know, I feel everyone knows the risks, and they should be given the option to play ball, to be down at the track, to go to the playground. I mean, everybody, we've been through a few months of this, and people know the risk. We did, so, you know, I wanted to get on this meeting, so I posted on Facebook for, you know, I just said, hey, we're going to go to the city and say, hey, can we play now? Can we play baseball in the fall, or do we just cancel and credit for a fall sport? Are we going to have fall sports? And so we did a vote, and the majority want to play ball. So, and I just feel like if they should make up the decision themselves. But I understand you guys are trying to keep people safe. So just wanted to see what your feedback was on that.
We're starting all the other.
I will say, I might be opening a can of worms here, but I'll say I feel comfortable letting my kids play sports.
Okay.
And it's happening all over. South Haven had a big tournament last week, and we're not talking big tournaments. We're talking the local community.
Okay. The first thing we would have to consider is the governor's orders of 100 people or less at a time, which I get it, you know, 10 kids on a ball team, 10 on another one, that's 20. And we may have to limit the crowds, but the kids themselves shouldn't be a problem. But and I know y'all had already signed up kids and taken the registration fees. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
I didn't cash the checks, the in-person ones we did, but there were only a handful. I just held on to them just in case we played. So, but
Yeah.
Basically, if you want to discuss how we could go about doing that, you know, we could have 2 fields going a night, you know, and then we could, for the fall sports, just have more nights of ball play and Saturdays. So I just know that the upper side of 70% would like to see us playing ball. So
this is hard. I don't want to tell anybody else how to parent. And I know that we would all like to have our kids out and playing. The numbers are still climbing. We just had our sixth death in Yalobusha County yesterday. We're up to over 90 cases in the county, and you know, Valley Tool just shut down for a week because they have an on-site case. So okay. I would urge that we wait, and I hope we're talking weeks, but we're still on the incline here.
Well, and that was kind of our stance as we've somewhat talked, was, hey, you know, we're probably not set up right now. I mean, I've talked to the Jersey guy to see if we could do it, if you guys were in favor. I didn't know what everybody's stance was, but you know, and everything else, we could throw it together, but honestly, it'd be better to just push it back to August. And maybe we come back at the July meeting and discuss it further to see what we can do.
So I'll share that we are in the same bind at Base Camp Coding Academy. We should have started classes yesterday. We have a class that's ready to go, 25 students, and we are not in a big long-term decision because we don't know yet. So we are meeting every week, the whole board, to just look at what is happening. And as soon as it's safe, we're going to launch because we need to. But right now, we just don't feel like there's enough concrete information to move forward.
I think it may be a good idea then, I think, to kick it down the road another month. Or if something happens that it miracle cure or whatever in the next 2 weeks, we could always come back and address it. But and I get it. If parents are willing to take the risk, again, as Kagan said, we don't want to tell them how to parent, but we don't want to cause anything either.
The majority on the vote just kind of pushed us to, hey, we should be playing ball. Other cities are doing it. I know we have high numbers, so I just feel like they're healthier out there exercising than sitting at home not exercising playing Nintendo. So that's me. And I get there's a virus going around, but I mean we're talking outside in the sunshine. So I mean baseball is a social distancing sport. So I know there's dugouts and all that, but we'll shelf it till next month. I'm fine with that. And has there been any discussion? I understand we are in search of a new park director. Is there going to be any advertising on that?
It will be some advertising on that because of this virus. Really, I didn't want to pay for somebody not to be really doing a lot. I mean, so that's why we haven't advertised yet, but we will be advertising that pretty soon.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And I want to say everybody's doing a great job, and we appreciate you. So we'll see you next month.
Thank you, Chase.
All right. Thank you.
Let's go back while we're talking about opening up the parks. We have had a couple of requests. One is, say, the church wants to use the bandstand this Sunday, actually, for an outdoor service. And then we have had a request for a protest to use the bandstand. And I believe that first date was the 12th of June. Terry Rocket has come to the chief and asked for a permit for a peaceful protest about the tragedy that's happened and all the fallout that's come about because of that. I have no objections to that whatsoever. I think, done the right way, and I trust our citizens to do things the right way. And until they prove themselves otherwise, I think that's the way we have to look at it. And but I would like y'all's input as a board.
I support both.
So do I.
It's open. Again, all permits like this are issued through our police department. So, Jason was just kind of wanting the guidance on that to make sure the parks were open. First of all, he couldn't issue a permit if the park was closed, or I could not tell the pastor that they could have a service there if the park was closed, because bandstand is part of Railroad Park. So if there's no objections, we will move forward with those two items then.
Can we help get clarification on crowd limits? If there's 100, like, can we spread out and have more than 100 as long as it's over a large enough area?
If it's one event, right now the governor says 100 or less. Now, Terry talking with the chief said he really didn't expect that many people. I don't know. Sometimes you can say you expect a large crowd and you have a small crowd. Sometimes you expect a small crowd and you have a very large crowd.
I would expect a very large crowd. I'll
Right.
be probably with my
You
family.
never know how many going to show up.
Yeah, you never do. But again, I know the governor's recommendation is 100, but are we going to ticket somebody if 110 people comes up? No, we're not going to do that.
You got to figure out which team. Exactly.
Yeah, which 10 do you ticket, right? The last 10. Right on the bandstand toward the Railroad Street side is the way we would have it pointing, of course. Keep people safe, keep them out of Main Street, keep Main Street flowing. That area can hold a lot of people. And even with social distancing, it can still hold a lot of people. So I don't know of anybody that would question if 200 people showed up.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Do we have a time
We don't have a time yet, do we, Jason?
Not yet. I would not. I deferred to Mr. Rocket till tomorrow to see what action the board took on the parks tonight before we made a decision on time and location.
Okay.
So I would suggest just that the chief gets with Mr. Rocket tomorrow, and they get that set up, and they can be publicized the 12th. It gives another week after this week, so it gives plenty of time for him to finalize plans, let the chief know everything to be done the right way.
Sounds good.
But since the parks is open, I don't think it takes any board action. Like I said, just we let the chief move forward with giving the permit.
And does the church needs a permit as well?
Now we've let people just use it in the past, but he determined what he called it was a protest, so that needs a permit. Just anybody else that is asked to use it, we hadn't made them get a permit. We could in the future, if y'all want to make that board policy, we could do that. But sometimes people may call the week after a meeting wanting to use it the following week. So we've just said, okay, if no one else is using it, we'll let you use it, So,
Leave that at the discretion of the chief.
yeah, that's right. Harvey says we have the discretion of the chief, and when he does these things.
Can I return to the topic of masks in our critical businesses?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So we discussed this last month, and the mayor had great success, I believe, with our 2 pharmacies. I think there was a policy at Larson's, and it's gotten a little more lenient recently. I know that Dollar General had put up plexiglass plates at the checkout, but they have not had their staff members wear masks. This is the thing that I've received the most personal contact about from citizens, that they don't feel there's a safe place that they can go to get their necessities. And I understand everybody disagrees on the level of safety that is required, but in those critical businesses for food and medicine, I would like, again, to attempt to have the city put in a policy. I believe the only business that will really be impacted will be the Dollar General, and their corporate policy, it's on their website today, is that they provide the masks to all of their staff for free, but their staff is not required to wear them unless there's a local requirement from the local government. So I don't think it will be a negative impact to Larson's or our 2 pharmacies, but I would like to make a motion that we require those 4 businesses, our 2 pharmacies and our 2 main food suppliers, to have their staff wear masks and have a $100 fine to the business owner for infractions, but have that be at the discretion of the mayor, because there will be a learning curve.
Okay, well, the owner of Dollar General would be back to corporate headquarters, I suppose, there.
Yep.
Stockholders are.
Nice little drive.
We can, but they're, I hate to say this, but I don't think they will cooperate unless it is policy. I mean, it's just.
If it's not store policy, it's not.
I mean, they're just not going to do it. The rest, everybody else I've talked with was so agreeable. Don Larson, I've talked with him a couple times. Don has called the CDC himself several times to get recommendations to try to do everything the right way. Of course, turnage is still just curbside till this week, and they asked all their customers even to wear one coming in, and I go in and I respect their wishes, and I think everybody else does also. The new pharmacy, went in there, they had their mask on after I asked them to, and I've been back twice and they've had their mask on. So the only one that I'm getting reports on is Dollar General not doing what they were asked to do. So Kagan has made the motion that we require those employees of those businesses to wear masks. And would that be effective immediately?
I think a couple days to, if they don't have them in hand to purchase them, but everybody's got to have them by now.
Yeah. So we have a motion to require those to wear, the employees there to wear masks. Do we have a second to that motion?
Those are going to be the only places there? Only
Those
businesses?
four, because as Kagan has pointed out, they may be what we would consider central. I mean, you got to buy groceries, and the only place to really buy groceries is going to be Larson's. It's
Okay.
going to be Dollar General, and then the medicines is going to be the two pharmacies. So, and Kagan, I believe you said in your motion that the owners would be responsible for the $100 fine. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So we have that motion. So
And
do we have a second?
Practically, I don't believe that fine will ever need to be applied, but
Herbie made second that motion. So any more discussion on that? Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
I don't know if I can see anything.
Okay, that is unanimous.
What date is this going to affect?
Okay.
It's in a few days. But
Yeah, what we want to make that effective, I mean, it doesn't have to be part of the motion, but effective by Friday, by Wednesday,
let's say by the end of business tomorrow.
by the end of business tomorrow, okay?
Does that give you, Mr. Mayor, does that give you time to communicate with all of them?
Yeah. We will notify Dollar General, and I will also be back with the others and make sure they continue to do what they've already been doing. And I'll take the chief with me up there at the Dollar General.
Excuse me.
Okay.
My name's Renee Diaz, and I don't know
Pardon?
I don't know if you can hear me or not, or if I'm hollowing out or something.
Ms. Renee, we can hear you. We can't see you.
Okay, I can turn on the thing, I think. I just screen share or no?
No, the video on the bottom left corner says stop
Gotcha.
start video.
Okay. Oh. Bottom left corner. Okay. I'm sorry. There it is. Okay. Hi, my name is Renee Diaz, and I was really concerned about wearing masks in public places where we buy food and medicine, so I'm very glad that you guys just passed that. Just for clarification, can you tell me that will be the employees as well as all of the customers coming into those locations, correct? Because when I spoke to Larson's, they're already making their employees. However, they don't have anything to say that the city is requiring that everybody wear masks to come into that location. So they have nothing to say to do that. So you go in there, and yes, the employees are wearing them, but if half of the people in the store, which is today, I went through, and majority of people who are wearing them are people over 60, okay, because they have one of the highest risk factors. Then there's also other conditions, as you well know. So you see these people who are 70, 80 with their masks on in the store. What's that doing? We all know that's protecting us from them, but they're not being protected from us if we choose not to wear a mask. Most businesses, the way they're doing it, where I have to go shopping because I won't shop where people are not following these guidelines. I go to Oxford or I go to Batesville because they are enforcing, Oxford is enforcing all of that. And the stores, all they needed was the city to ask. And then they can say to the people outside, you can't come in unless you have a mask. I don't understand why that's such a huge problem. If other cities are doing it, and the governor just came out 4 days ago with something, and the attorney or the guy in charge of medical stuff, cases are going up. If people don't start social distancing and practicing these things, we're going to have he may have to mandate something again. So I understand people are tired of this, but nothing has changed as far as our guidance in terms of
Okay.
wearing masks.
All right. Now, ma'am, let me address your question. I think the motion was only for the employees that work there. It was not to require all the citizens to wear masks.
Excuse
I
me.
got to admit, sometimes I'm guilty of not wearing mine in. I try to respect any store that tells me I need to wear one to come in.
And
But what I'll just have to say, I am against forcing all of our citizens to have to wear a mask to enter into a business. And the two examples I can give you that I was asked not to do this was building supplies and auto part places. Because they say that a mechanic may run in there at 7 o'clock and say, I need this real quick, and I don't have a mask with me right now. Well, those mechanics do tons of business with them. The same thing with the building supplies about their contractors. They said, if they run in to get something, they spend thousands of dollars a year with me. I'm not going to tell them they can't come in.
No,
And that's the business owners taking the risk. And that's just, so this just on the employees this time, though. But I do respect your opinion, and I do, and I will address the Batesville issue. Batesville is not enforcing any type of mask thing over there.
well, I know that Oxford is because I do.
Oxford is, and Oxford is a very unique situation, a lot larger population that comes in.
Yeah.
So I get that. I get why they're doing that. I do. And, but at this time, I just don't think it's a good thing for Water Valley.
I'm not, and I guess I'm not requesting you ask all citizens of Water Valley to wear a mask. I'm asking at Larson's, Dollar General, and the 2 pharmacies, you ask people who are coming in to do business there to please put on their mask. They told me at Larson's, the manager today, when I talked to her, all she needed was something from the city, and then they could stand at the door and have someone say, no, the city's requiring you to wear a mask to come in or we can't let you in. It's my understanding Cinnamon offered to donate all those at the May 5th meeting. So I don't see how there's a cost to the city. And I feel like we need some leadership. I mean, what is going to happen if this surges again here?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is personal responsibility. But I appreciate, but we do need to move on. I do appreciate it, though. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, and the next thing on is the FEMA mask. We have 3,000 FEMA masks that have been given to the city, and we need to set a time and place for us to distribute these masks. When talking, I think the sports complex would be the ideal place to do that because we could get all the cars in down there, lined up. We had to do zigzag lines that we could control that a lot better. So that's just my thoughts. And I was thinking maybe this Friday, because that would give us time to let the people know when and where we'll be giving them out. And I would like for anybody that wants to participate, any board member or whatever, to come. I've already been talking with Jason, Mark, about being there, and Vivian be there. So, but what do y'all think about the using the sports complex parking lot and the doing it on Friday?
What time?
Like about 5 to 7 or
Who's Nicole?
in the evening time, like 5 for people that work, or you're thinking earlier in the day?
I was thinking earlier. I was thinking somewhere between starting at 9:30 until we run out of masks. If people are working, maybe could send someone. We could give up to maybe 3 per car. If there's exceptions, we can make exceptions, of course. Maybe a husband comes, wife can't make it. Hey, I need one for my wife, kid, or whatever.
Okay.
But I mean, we could be flexible, but Yeah, if we have any left over, which I don't think we will, but we could set another time and do it in the evening, or, you know.
Okay.
All right. Traffic should
So-
be over in the morning. I was just thinking
Yeah.
traffic should be, I was thinking about having hundreds of cars come through at 5 o'clock would be a traffic nightmare.
Yeah, because you got some businesses are closing and stuff. So I just, you know, but I'm flexible. I remind you, Kagan, you said you had a pop-up tent we could
I can
we
bring
could put up,
a tent for the folks.
and maybe a couple of them down there. So, what do y'all think about what time you want to do it? 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock is fine.
9
Okay.
o'clock sounds great.
And we'll say from 9 until we run out of masks. How about that? On Friday, this Friday, the 5th.
And because we have 3,000 in a town of 3,400, we're encouraging one per person.
We are, but again, yeah, one per person. But if it's a person drives up and say, can I also get one from a spouse or significant other or whatever? Sure, we'll give 2 per car or whatever if we need to there.
Okay, and these are reusable masks?
These are reusable. They're the KN95s, which is pretty good mask. So we will set that then for Friday. And if David Howell's there, David, you can get that out. Media, all of y'all that do Facebook, or Kagan, you can put that on the website.
We'll do that.
And we'll be down there Friday morning and try to give them all out.
It's not a step out of your car, it's a drive by and we'll.
It's a drive by, yes, drive by.
Okay.
And we will try to get some gloves so that when they are packaged, I mean, there's some as many as 15 to a package. So we'll have to handle them with gloves when we break a package to hand 2 out, whatever, but we can get some gloves and all down there. And everybody that's giving them out, we probably should wear masks. So, yeah, but just, you know. Okay. 13. Anything else before we?
Number 13.
Jason.
Oh, Jason, yeah. Let's skip right over him, sitting right behind me. Jason wants to speak about moving the city courts back to City Hall and the reasons and all.
Due to the way the court is working, I think we'll have just as much space, ability if we move it back to City Hall. It's also safer for the clerks with their money. Sometimes people do show up with money to court and want to pay. There would be officers here with them for the money, so it makes it safer for the people that want to pay. And if they want to pay, we need to get it when they're willing to give it. The other issues is docket books and few assorted issues we've had with paperwork, with old people show up with old cases. It just would flow a lot better if we could bring it back to City Hall.
They can,
Always monitor the people.
yeah,
Yes.
we can keep it where there's just, limited one case at a time. Everybody else has to wait outside. They can go get them in the parking lot.
Which is the same format we're using at City, the auditorium as well. Is you wait in your car, we have an officer come get you when it's your turn for the case. It kind of limits the audience to just your case and court personnel. We'll follow that same protocol.
Do we have any stock of hand sanitizer at the City Hall?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. We had some right outside the door tonight, and they even disinfected this room, and will be again. And we had bought some disinfectant and stuff early on, about 4 gallons of that. So we can keep this area probably cleaner than we can City Auditorium, really. So, and it's much more controlled environment. So I would entertain a motion for us to move the city courts back to City Hall. Herbie makes that motion. We have a second. Fred seconds.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that is unanimous. Okay. Before we go into executive, I don't think that maybe anybody.
We got one other one about temporary officers for the carnival.
Yeah, we'll do that executive. Okay. Just for information, we've had a 60-day moratorium on utility bills, which unfortunately, as of yesterday, has cost us about $6,437 to date. And these were some people normally that paid their bills, but they took advantage of the moratorium, and now all of a sudden they've got 3 months of bills, and they're not being able to pay them. Now, this is not that we're not going to continue to try to collect them. This is not the write-offs. This is just this past 60 days, what the moratorium has cost us. And so that's just for y'all's information. So when we get to this next quarter, it may be pretty big.
This has been the lowest time of year for utility bills.
Yeah.
Are these folks now getting their utilities cut off?
They will get their utilities cut off. And one of them was the largest one was a rental property that people moved out. So we're kind of stuck on that one unless they try to come back in the city to get utilities again. And that was over $2,000 that one. So it was a big one. Have one other thing before we go in executive session. I'll go and address this because this is the mutual agreement for county city fire protection. Usually the county brings that to us every 2 years. Well, the agreement actually expired January the 1st of this year. But Mark has gone through some of there's been kind of, I won't say an error, but it may be the way it was written. It looks like that we're responsible as the first responder for a 5-mile radius. And that was not the intent of this agreement. We agree to service in that 5-mile radius as a backup. And we're going to go always, but we've been toned out on a couple of them that were 2 or 3 miles out as the first responder on those. So we need to get this fire protection agreement to the county with some corrections so I can bring it back to y'all next month so we can get this back in force and back going. Again, it's always been done from the county to us, but we're going to put the language in that we think needs to be in there, and we'll get Daniel to do that. We're going to send that to the county, and then we'll come back with an agreement. I wanted everyone to have that information ahead of time, so when we address that next month, that's what that'll be about. Okay, anything else?
Yes, sir. Isn't next month when we normally renew the contracts for the city attorney and city prosecutor?
You're right.
Okay. Well, Shannon and I are happy where we are. If y'all are happy where we are.
Just no raises, right?
No raises.
Okay. Yeah, bring those agreements and we can deal with them next month. It is, that's right, it's
All right,
July.
yes.
Okay. Anybody else have anything?
No.
Hey, Fred's got a question or something.
I didn't know, shit. When it could be,
Yeah, they did not meet.
I don't know. Can we pay them a little bit? That's from the server.
Okay, Fred is asking the question about the planning commission, if we could pay the members a little bit for serving on that commission. I mean,
$50 for the head.
My connection's cutting out.
35 for the member.
Was there a proposal for an amount?
what was the amount, Fred, again?
$50 for the headman, head, and 35 for each bundle.
A month.
Or for,
50 like
if they
the-
meet,
for the
or
chairman and 35 for the members.
Right.
for every month whether they meet or
Every
not.
month.
Fred has suggested that the president or chairman of the planning commission gets $50 a month, and each member gets $35 a month.
They be a week. They're not me.
Yeah.
They're being paid.
So.
Everybody like money.
Fred says everybody likes money, so it's 5 members. Fred, would you put that in form of a motion?
I'm doing a little research. It's not uncommon for folks on planning commissions to receive a little payment.
Fred made that in form of a motion, so we do have a motion. And I know it's public service, but it's sometimes inconvenient too when you, so that, I don't have any objections to it. So Herbie seconds that. So all in favor?
Is it 35?
Any discussion?
35 and 50?
Yes, 50 for the chairman, or I don't know how they term him, as chairman or president of the planning commission. And of course, he usually always sends out a lot of stuff too, so that might help cover some of his expenses.
And is that for the months that they meet or for every month?
He said every month. And starting in July. So Fred made a motion, Herbie seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that was unanimous. Starting in July. Okay. Anybody else got anything? If not, we will consider an executive session and just we'll deal with firemen and police.
Motion to consider going into executive session.
Okay, Kagan makes a motion, consider going to executive session. Hurry, seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous, so we will consider ourselves.
Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay.
And then I think that's all I have to do.
Only one you have to drop off looks like is